track. I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Bond Group in Waltham, Massachusetts, we're getting a chance to revisit the 2013 Porsche Boxster S. This is the third generation of Boxster, the 981 for those who care, and it has a 6-speed manual transmission mated to a 3.4-liter flat 6, naturally aspirated, of course. These were the glory days of the Boxster and the Cayman, and I think we didn't know it at the time. Now, today you get into a 718 Boxster, which is technically a 982 Boxster or Cayman, but we'll save that for another day. And they either have turbo 4 cylinders, or if you opt for the GTS 4-liter, the Spider, or the GT4, you get a naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6, but they do not sound as good as this. The Boxster S is the one to get because the standard non-S Boxster had a 2.7-liter flat 6, and while it sounded absolutely incredible, it didn't have as much poke. This produces 315 horsepower and just shy of 270 pound-feet of torque. Now, those numbers aren't massive, but this chassis is outrageously capable, and the 981 is the right size. So let's take a look around. First, it is very yellow, and you know what? Let's get this top down, because it has an electronic roof that works so quickly, so seamlessly, it starts to make the Spider look awfully cumbersome with its manual roof. Let's just get this into here. I'm gonna have to turn the sound down on this because I just can't seem to figure out how to get this to not play the radio when I turned on. Some weird Porsche quirks, okay? So, take a look at this. This goes down so darn quickly. Which is exactly what you need, because if you're sitting at a light, it started to rain, you need to put it back up, or hey, it's a nice day, it's time to get that top down. That's what you want to be able to do. You don't want to have to pull over to the rest stop to figure it out. So take a look at this interior. Man, oh man, is that the correct steering wheel? No buttons, just a horn. Beautifully sized, fits in the hand. Reminds me a lot of a 997 GT3. And of course, we've got our 6-speed manual. That is just tops. Now, color, yellow may not be your first choice, but it definitely screams summertime, and I am enjoying it right now. Let's take a look around. One of the best things about this mid-engine sports car is the fact that you get a trunk and a frunk. So you've got this nice carpeted space down here where you've got in paint-matched Boxster S yarn, thread, whatever you want to call it, embroidery, sure. And you can fill up your oil and coolant back here. It is a bit of a pain to work on, just because if you have to access anything from the top, well, that's all covered. And unlike the Spider, which covers the top, that top is underneath the giant rear deck, this actually seems to have slightly better visibility. I feel like I'm able to look over that rear quarter just a bit easier. And interior is just wonderfully simple, ergonomic, comfortable, and classy. I think this just ticks a lot of boxes, and if you found one that was spec'd correctly and you've got the nice leather dashboard and all the goodies, man, oh man, are you in for a lovely drive. Now this one, oh, I almost forgot to show you. One of my favorite things in this car is we always see these cubbies and we say, why do we need these cubbies? They kind of fit your phone, they can sit upright, but really, it's for this. It's for the Porsche umbrella. That is what that cubby is for. We've got the Bose system in this car. It sounds okay, but I don't really care because I just want to hear this engine. Up front, we've got our frunk, and it's on pistons, so no props necessary. Very lovely. And down here, our cavernous space for all of the goods. Really nice to be able to travel with these because you can shove a ton of stuff in the front, a good amount of stuff in the back, and depending on what shape your stuff is, certain things fit different places. It's really a livable vehicle. It even has a cute little wing that pops up at speed to help balance things out. But that's kind of a beacon to the authorities that you've done something bad on a back road. To put it down, you have to hold the button, so it'll just stop wherever you place it, which, that's a little annoying. I definitely thought I broke one on the 911R when I did that. I said, oh no, it won't go down. I realized I just had to hold the button. Gluing us to the road up front on a 19-inch wheel is a 235 section tire and a 265 in the rear. The car is incredibly balanced, obviously because it's mid-engine, but they still stagger those wheels and tires just to make sure that you're able to put down all that power. And the car will hopefully understeer just a hint before that tail rips away from you and ruins your day. But anyway, let's take a drive and see how this 9,000-mile Boxster holds up, especially since we've been driving the Spyders for quite a while. Is it worth the money? Should you go and buy the crazy expensive GT car, or can you get away with a normal Boxster or Cayman? Ooh, we love a paint match seatbelt. Now, rumor has it they had to crash test different colors. I don't know if that's true, but I love the idea of Porsche having to waste cars to make sure that the yellow seatbelts function just as well as the black ones. Okay, up front, we've got our yellow gauges. These are optional things, and that's why when you're buying these cars, you've got to be a little cautious about what you get, because if that's not your style, go to the next one. So we'll jump in here, key on the left. Jumps right to life, very smooth. I love the exhaust note. However, not all of these cars had the sport exhaust. This does not have the sport exhaust, which has a valve, and that means that you're not getting the ultra loud version of it. To put the parking brake down on these cars, you pull that forward. Now, I almost always instinctively push forward and go the incorrect way. I don't know why. It's like a USB where you just go the wrong way first the first time and finally get it. But I figured it out. Ultra smooth, not a violent clutch by any standard. Still tactile, light enough, but heavy enough. I think this is striking a really nice balance to be a proper sports car. Now, there is no auto blipping in this car. You need to do the rev matching yourself. Let's jump into sport mode, see how she gets off the line. Plenty of poke. This thing definitely moves, and sure, not as quick as its 911 brothers, but it's plenty fast. And for anyone who enjoys driving, especially in today's world where everything just has so much power, it's really refreshing to get into something that you can go full boot in regularly, especially when it sounds this good. Now, in sport mode, it seems to give me a more aggressive throttle map. You'll notice there is no auto blip in this car. It means I've got to do the work myself, which kind of puts it in a position of being a more pure and true sports car. You've got to drive it. You want the rewards, you got to work for it. Now, when this car came out, it was a big deal that Porsches were getting electric assisted power steering, moving away from the hydraulic assist. However, even though everyone was like, oh no, these are terrible, we've lost all the steering feel, I think today, because we drive so many electric assist cars, it feels great. It feels completely normal. It feels completely exciting. And yeah, sure, is it slightly more vague than the hydraulics? Do I feel the granularity of the pavement? No, but the ratio is good, and I can still tell what's going on with the nose. It's not like it all disappeared. It's incredible, the stuff that we used to just lose our minds over. And maybe it's because Porsche just incrementally changes things, that the only way to be a critical journalist in the Porsche world is to pick something very specific and then just decide that it's the biggest deal in the world. Turns out, it's not. This is such a great manual transmission. It's got that little snick. It feels good in the hand. It's positioned nicely. It's a tall stick, but that tall stick means I don't have to reach too far between wheel and shifter. That's what you want. That's why, like a Carrera GT, you've got that stick right up here in the dashboard, basically. I do think the gear ratios, oh my goodness, did this just happen? The gear ratios are still long, which is fine. I think it works for this car, honestly, because, like, yeah, there's a lot of juice up top. In the GT4 and the Spiders, I just feel like it's such a waste to have the long gear ratios. In this car, I feel like it kind of suits it better. Sure, it doesn't have GT4 suspension, but man, this thing rocks. We need to give the Boxster a heck of a lot more credit. This thing is so good. The practicality of the car has a great turning radius, like little things. You know, there's no rear steering on this car or anything, but I can still make pretty outrageous moves. Great U-turns. And sure, second gear's long, but it's got nice torque. It does the job. So you can focus on driving rather than just consistently shifting over and over and over again. And on the highway, 70 miles an hour, 6 gears nice and tall, so you're not turning too many revs, only about 2,600. That's not bad. This is a great cruiser. And because it's not so razor sharp as like the Spider or the GT4, it's actually kind of cushy. I feel like I've got better visibility over the rear of the car than the Spider, so that's a plus. Nice smooth pavement. We can start engaging our sport chassis option. And sure, you lose a little bit through the steering from 987 Cayman to 981. The 987 Cayman, oh, mwah, beautiful, but a little bit underpowered. They sounded fantastic, but they just needed a little bit of love. This, however, this is just dead on. This is like the sweet spot. Of course, you can always use more, and the chassis can handle more, but do you need it? Can you enjoy it without it? I say the answer is yes. I think this is a really great car, and there's no surprise that PTSRS bought himself a 981 Cayman. He got a Cayman S, and I think you got to get the S. I think the big rule on these cars is you've got to opt for that larger engine because it's just better. If you want to feel underpowered, then, you know, the standard car is your best bet. And I guarantee you'll start to think, man, I really should have just shelled out the cash. But with this, you also get the benefit of not having to deal with some clumsy IMS bearing or anything like that. Such a usable car. It feels like it's appropriate in like every situation. It's appropriate on a track day. It's appropriate on your way to work. You could use it in the rain. It's fine. let's go pull up to the most dangerous yield sign in the world. I genuinely don't understand why they think I'm just going to not stop here. This would be so dangerous to just roll through. That needs to be a stop sign. So thank you to Bond Group for a chance to revisit the 981 Boxster S. I think this was a great experience for me because I'm like, you know what? There are still, and I use this word lightly, affordable sports cars that are fantastic, that don't have to be some $100,000 outrageous thing. You can do really well here. And it's one of the other rare cases where I think that having the older car is better. The next generation, the 718 with the 4-cylinder turbo, it's just not as good. I think the chassis is incredible. Obviously, you're making more power, more torque with that engine, but it just doesn't evoke the emotion that this flat six does. And you can tell that they said, oh, we need to make some changes because they brought a flat six back into play with that car with the GTS 4-liter. It's not as good though. It doesn't sound as good. It's powerful, it's potent, lovely engine, but this is the way to go. So thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'm in some traffic, and that's okay because I'm in a lovely car in a lovely place, and I just don't mind. I've got the world above me and I can see it all. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.